It is January 24, 1925, and winter has arrived in Nome, Alaska. The storm is approaching, and the snow is relentless. Togo is leading the sled while Leonhard hikes with his huskies. He notices a caribou, which Togo enjoys pursuing, and attempts to apply the brakes. Togo, to his surprise, ignores the caribou and continues hiking into town. On the snow-covered roads, he meets Dan. Dan informs him of a diphtheria outbreak affecting primarily children. Dan tells him about a community meeting at a house. He goes there and attends the meeting. Fortunately, it was discovered a serum capable of curing diphtheria. The men discuss various ways to bring the cure to them. The issue was figuring out how to get the medicine to Nome through the snow. Because of the snow and storm on the way, planes were unable to fly. Leonhard could go with his dogs, led by Togo, and bring the cure. Leonhard refused because Togo was already over the age of 10. As he walks to his house, he is joined by the town doctor. He leaves the doctor at the hospital and looks out the window. He recognizes the faces of several children in the hospital. He feels empathy towards them. So he begins preparing his sled for the journey. Even though he is preparing for the trip, he tells his wife that he is unsure if he will go. Constance, his wife, is concerned that she will lose her husband and Togo on this trip. If he decides to go, she asks him to let Fritz, another dog, lead the hike. Leonhard disagrees with this notion. He believes he will not be able to make it without Togo. The mayor pays them a visit in the middle of the night. The storm is already gathering strength. He confirms that the serum will not be flown into Alaska. Leonhard realizes he must leave now. He prepares his sled, bids farewell to Constance, who is terrified, and begins the hike. They hike directly into the storm, bracing themselves. Unfortunately, Leonhard leads them astray, and they begin a downward spiral. Leonhard loses control after a rope snaps. The dogs continue to hike, dragging Leonhard down and towards a cliff. They are saved when the rope hooks them to the ice, and holds them at the cliff's edge. Leonhard tells Togo to hike up. After many trials, he can boost up, and save them. However, both Togo and Leonhard have been injured. They seek treatment at a roadhouse. His friend, Joe, and his wife live there. They treat Togo's wounds and warm up. He informs his friend of his decision to cut through the Sound to save time. The Sound is a body of water whose surface has become ice due to winter. Leonhard remembered Togo's story. Togo was one of his dog's puppies. It was weak, so he wanted to put an end to it, because he didn't think it would survive in Alaska. Constance, who was kind to dogs, wouldn't let him. Leonhard had a lot of trouble with Togo. He digs his way out of his kennel, takes Leonhard's belongings, and flees. When a friend, Victor, asks for a dog, Leonhard gladly gives Togo away, much to his wife's irritation. However, Victor quickly returns Togo to Leonhard, claiming he is more trouble than he is worth. Constance attempts to persuade him to train Togo and load him into the sled. She emphasizes Togo's ability to run fast. Leonhard ignores this because Togo refuses to be trained, and is unintelligent. Leonhard uses bricks to block Togo's outlets, to hinder his efforts to dig out of his kennel. He leads the other sled dogs on a hike, leaving Togo and a few dogs behind. Togo is desperate to accompany him as he hikes away. So it starts digging through the sand to get out. He encounters the roadblocks erected by Leonhard. He will not give up until he finds a way out. He is finally able to dig his way out. He dashes into the field, chasing Leonhard, who has already left. He catches up to Leonhard, and runs under the dogs, to disrupt their position. Togo then notices deers ahead. He chases them, causing the dogs in Leonhard's sled to do the same. Leonhard eventually falls out of his seat and lands in the water. When he returns home, he plans to transport Togo to the tack room, where he believes he will be unable to escape. Togo squirms and looks for a way out, as soon as Leonhard starts hiking. It notices an opening on top, and finds a way out, destroying everything in its path. Constance is relieved to see him emerge from the opening, as he chases Leonhard. He disrupts Leonhard's sled, and causes trouble once more. The following day, the team continued their journey to obtain the serum. The mayor informs the press of Leonhard, and the dog's mission. The temperature and winds are raging, and the distance to travel is long. People wonder if they'll make it, and some are impressed by the mission. However, man and dog persevere in the harsh weather conditions. The encounter breaks the ice at the sound. Although the dogs are terrified of the ice breaking around them, they continue to run. As they run, Leonhard recites a heroic poem. They eventually make it out of the breaking ice, and to another roadhouse. A friend of Leonhard's compliments Togo's strength. Leonhard tells him about the time he gave Togo again. He persuaded his wife that he was in the business of training dogs, not pets. They traveled and gave Togo to a woman who needed protection from wolves. Togo causes her a lot of problems. The ultimate is when he breaks out of the house and escapes through her glass window. He runs into Leonhard and the other dogs while hiking in the field. Leonhard is taken aback to see him. He loads him onto the sled and pulls him home. Togo is strapped to another dog in the back. Leonhard notices Togo outrunning his partner as they run. As a result, he ties him up in the middle. The same thing occurs. Togo is leading the dogs by the time they get home. Leonhard informs Constance that Togo is a lead dog, not a sled dog. He is happy and amazed at this. Things start to change. Leonhard begins training Togo and eventually falls in love with him. The hike for the serum continues the following day. In Alaska, the governor devised an audacious plan to station 14 teams along the road. The teams were to assist in getting the serum to Alaska safely. Constance informs them that it is far too late. Leonhard would have already passed the location where they predicted he would be. She assures them that he cut across the sound to save time, rather than going the distance. They are devastated because Henry, a fellow musher, has already been sent. They are all hoping Henry meets Leonhard and his dogs. If Henry does not meet Leonhard, he will go on his own in search of the serum and may not survive. Leonhard and the dogs continue their journey. He is sleepy and is struggling to stay awake. Henry gets down to rearrange his dogs when he notices Leonhard passing by. He attempts to run after Leonhard while shouting his name. He yells that he already has the serum. Because of the storm, Leonhard cannot hear him. Henry collapses, and it appears that he has lost Leonhard. But then Leonhard appears and they hug. They stay at the outpost for the night. Henry suggests he leave Togo at the roadhouse. He planned to bring Togo back once winter was over. Leonhard refuses to listen to this advice, claiming that Togo is his leader. They left the following day for Alaska with the cure. Leonhard braces the sound once more. He recounts his experience 10 years ago as they travel. Leonhard and his dogs faced a consistent champion in the Alaska sweepstakes. As usual, everyone expected the champion to win. To everyone's surprise, Leonhard wins with Togo in the lead. They keep blazing the storm and hiking the sound with this memory in mind. This time, they arrive at a point where the ice has broken up, and water underneath flows visibly. Leonhard braces, and they continue hiking until they reach the end. The ice has separated from the land, and water is now between the ice and the land. Leonhard grabs the rope, and throws Togo across the ice to the ground. Togo can hike up after much effort, and they all arrive safely on land. They survive the sound once again. Meanwhile, Constance allows Duncan to leave with two of her other good dogs, Fox and Balto. Duncan is on his way to Joe's to pick up the serum and bring it back to town. Leonhard and his dogs continue walking until they reach a point with no visibility. Leonhard believes Togo will lead them to Joe's house. Leonhard sleeps his way through the journey. When he wakes up, he sees all the dogs sleeping in the cold. He walks to Togo, pleading with him to get up and move. Joe, to his surprise, emerges from the snow with a lantern. Togo led him successfully to Joe's. They all go inside for warmth. Duncan arrives and collects the serum from Joe. He heads back to Nome to deliver it quickly. He gives the serum to the doctor, quickly curing the children. A reporter, confusing him for being the sole musher, announces his dog Balto as the hero who saved Nome. Leonhard, on the other hand, is ready to return in a week. Togo's paw is injured, but he believes he can make it. This time, he works in front of Togo. Constance is greeted by a tired Togo and an emotional Leonhard when they arrive. They are sad because they believe Togo will die soon. Many people flock to his house to thank him and Togo. Leonhard leaves Togo inside the house one morning, due to his paw injury. He leads the other sled dogs on a run. Togo notices this from the window and looks for a way out. He eventually opens the door and runs with his injured paw. Surprisingly, he catches up with Leonhard and the other dogs. Constance and Leonhard are pleased because it demonstrates Togo's strength. Togo lives with them for another 2 years. Instead of running, he takes walks with Leonhard. Togo sires puppies of his own, that prove to be famous in their own right. Because of Togo, people loved buying puppies from Leonhard. He died at the age of 14 on a Thursday in December. It is revealed that while Balto had received a statue in his honor in New York, Togo is remembered in Alaska for making the longest run, and for being the true hero of Nome, and his offspring, became prized by mushers worldwide, for their sledding capabilities. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more moving stories like this one. We would like to know your thoughts about this story in the comments section down below. A like and share are also welcomed. Have a nice day.